After managing $2.5 million in the last 365 days on Google Ads, here are my 4 key takeaways. Creative is king. Getting your creative right is more important than ever, whether it's for YouTube, Meta, LinkedIn, or any platform in general. And oftentimes what you'll find is you can run your ads without actually adding any detailed interest targeting options. The reason for this at this current point in the advertising industry is that these platforms and their algorithms and their AI models are so good at knowing where each user is at in the buying process that it has the ability and the timing to show up exactly when the user is ready to take the action that your ad is calling for. So I always recommend that people spend about 80% of their time on the actual creative and about 20% of the time on the actual setup and structure of the ad account. Number 2 would be data tracking. Make sure you're using the correct data tracking tools and using UTM parameters at all times. I have several clients, and especially e-commerce clients, that were only using Universal Analytics or now GA4. And because those properties aren't really that great at tracking the data in general, we have switched to a lot more third-party softwares. Once you have your UTM parameters set up correctly, it's way easier for you to go into these platforms and break down exactly where the source is, what was the specific creative, what was the exact search term, and things like that. And going along with data tracking is understanding your customer's average order value and LTV. And once you truly understand these numbers, and you can really look over a big window in the past 365 days to get these numbers, you're typically able to figure out, hey, I can actually spend a little bit more to acquire a customer because, 70 to 80% of my customers stay around for 6 months, a year, or longer. Number 3, optimize your landing pages. Make sure your website and landing pages in general are following the best SEO practices. You have your H1 tags, you have your meta descriptions, everything like that. But you also need to make sure that you're not just keyword stuffing and doing things like that. You need to make sure, and I would recommend fully, that you are optimizing for the user experience. What we are starting to see is that because of ChatGPT and tools like that, people are creating content so fast, and it's not great content. You can rank for a bunch of keywords, but once Google realizes that the quality of your website is not really what maybe an individual user is looking for, they start to actually rank you lower. So this brings me back to my point. Make sure that your website is easy to navigate and you're also following the best SEO practices. And number 4, understand your time to conversion. Understanding how long it takes for a user to actually convert is so important. If you go into Google and click under the conversions tab, you can see how many days it typically takes for a user from their first impression to convert. For example, we have a client spending about $100K a month on Google Ads, and it typically takes from the first impression 12 to 18 days after that first impression for users to convert and make a purchase. This means 2 things. 1, you need to wait after you make some big changes in your ad account to really see the effects of these down the road. So don't constantly be making changes if you're not exactly sure what those effects are, because it can take some time. And number 2, if we know that these periods can take a longer amount of time for users to convert, you really need to be able to have a strong retargeting strategy. So that means if you're running a lot of really strong Google Ads traffic, you should be using Facebook and Instagram to target those users again and show them more visuals, more creative about what you're doing. That's how you continue to push them down the learning process of becoming a customer. All right, let me know if you have any questions. Peace.